Hello and welcome to another episode of Intune.training, the place to learn how to use Microsoft Intune. Steve and Adam show with Steve, who's hysterically laughing, and Adam. Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, buddy. Yourself?
Just hanging in there. That's a
Yeah, we
snazzy
are.
jacket you got going on.
I thought so.
All right,
Let me go incognito.
Looks familiar. Where'd you get that?
I don't know. I got it from the mall.
Oh, dude, I hear they got everything at the mall.
Yeah.
It's wave of the future.
Maybe we should go to the mall.
Did you know over here that we have a Mall of America?
Oh, really?
It's kind of disappointing though, because you would think there would be like something from America, and you would be like, Mall of America.
Yeah.
Okay, that is not what we're talking about.
No.
We should probably start over.
Probably, but we're not going to because
no, we're here. All right,
we'd need to edit.
The intro is gonna be longer than the demo.
Yes.
All right. Hey, so Steve, let us
talk
about some iOS related things. What?
Yay! Finally, iOS.
I know it's crazy. So I had a moment this week where, as you may know, I've inherited some, gone into management and things now, and I inherited one of our teams is the mobility team, and so I now own all of our corporate mobile devices, including iOS, and so I'm having to look into it more and dig into it. So I'm getting more exposure and having more conversations and thoughts. And so this week we were talking to auditors and the security team about, hey, what controls and policies do we have in place around mobile devices? And one thing that just kind of stuck out was antivirus.
Yes.
So for forever in the Windows world, like that's always been a core tenet of managing Windows. Like, oh, definitely always have to have antivirus. It's always been a thing. Never even considered rolling out a device without antivirus. But I started thinking about it. I said, I've never considered putting antivirus on a phone. Why would you? What's that for? Well, first of all, the terminology is wrong. It's not antivirus. It's a security tool to protect against numerous things. So when you start expanding the definition, expanding the capabilities, which is relatively new in this day and age, all the EDR type things in endpoint detection and response. Is that right? For some reason, incident was throwing in there, but that starts with an I. So really questioning my sanity. Sorry.
We do every day.
So we've got all these tools out there that are increasing our security posture and helping us get a better visibility into our environment. I mean, the inventory data that we're able to pull. I'm like, I don't need to write custom inventory data. I just need to go dump it all from Defender stuff. It's pretty nice. So all that to say, really started thinking we need to be baking Defender into our core base build for our mobile devices. And so I started poking at it. And within minutes, I had Defender installed and configured with policies and enrolled into the endpoint Defender for endpoint stuff in the security center, and had all the device inventory going over there and all that stuff. Great visibility into the device and what's on it. And so it's like, hey, let's do a quick video on this and kind of talk through what some of the capabilities are. So we're going to demo this around iOS, and it's going to scratch the surface because there's more you can do in it. We're going to look at it from a managed device perspective. There is a MAM flavor of all the stuff we're going to talk through as well. There are some caveats there. Supervised versus unsupervised has different configuration options. There's silent versus not silent and all those sorts of things. It gets into privacy and it's a user's device and all those things. You can do VPN based web filtering and things too if you need to. So lots of deep features that you can get with this. We're going to scratch the surface and just kind of show the initial setup here, and then you can dig in and further on your own. But just wanted to kind of jump into what that all stuff looks like. What do you think, Steve?
Sounds great to me. So how do you want to start?
Well, so you've got a working corporate enrolled iOS device over there. You've got an iPhone sitting there ready to go. And but you don't have Defender installed on it.
Let's quickly show that, and we can go here and we can see. Look, it's registered into the company portal. We're all there, and then if we go across to our settings, and we go under general, and then we got our VPN and device management options here. We've got our management profile in there. We've got Intune. We don't have a VPN profile, and we don't have any restrictions associated. All that we have today is 5 applications, because from a previous demo that we've done. So what we're then going to step through, and we'll flip over to Adam's screen for this because the movie magic is awesome, is we're now going to step into setting up Defender for Endpoint on iOS.
Now, before we dig in, you'll see there is Mac OS, Linux, Android, and iOS, all as other platforms here. So, so just follow the appropriate instructions for those things. There are licenses, prereqs, and all those things. So, you definitely Defender for Endpoint is a requirement here. But it's because you're getting all the advanced capabilities here with EDR. Now, can you deploy Windows Defender unmanaged? You can just deploy Defender, period, whether you're using Defender for Endpoint or not, and getting the advanced management capabilities. You can still just put Defender on your folks' devices. So Steve, if you will, just go to company portal and just go ahead and trigger the install for Defender. We've got it advertised in our app store, we pulled it in as an app from the iOS app store into Intune, and then I've just made it available in company portal for him to install.
So we go here.
Ideally, you're going to push this out silently and all that sort of stuff, but just...
And to note, just to reiterate this, because there was a conversation that Adam and I were having earlier, is you want to publish it as a VPP application to any of your managed devices. The reason for that is because it will silently install without the user being prompted. If you don't use the VPP installation version, your users will be prompted to go to the store to install it, or that you're installing the app.
There you go. Okay, so then we'll switch back over, and we are going to begin working through some steps listed here. So the first step is to deploy this. So we're doing that.
Check.
And then we're going to configure app protection policy to include Defender for Endpoint risk signals. That's for MAM. The right one. That's not the right one.
No. But one of the cool things as well, and jumping ahead, which we'll talk through later on, is you have the ability then to link this into conditional access as well and go, hey, it needs to be on there.
Yes. And additionally, you can configure, there are different pieces of this that you can configure. So the initial one here that we're going to do is we're going to do the web protection piece. We're not going to go through all this, but it just steps you through all the different features that you can enable and determine what you want to do. In my environment, I went through and did all of the first several here, so that all the network protection pieces, as well as the web protection. The thing about the web protection here is you'll see it's alluding to a connect on demand deal here. So web protection with VPN. So if you enable the web protection feature, but don't configure this step here, this one, you will
protection,
then you will get the VPN piece enabled.
Yes.
And so we want to make sure that we're setting up the VPN or the web protection piece here. And then Steve, there was the other. So this is going to be an app configuration policy, but then there's a device configuration policy as well that we're going to configure. So two different pieces we want to do. And there's a doc for that one that I don't have up, but it's the one that says managed is managed. I don't know where that one's at, but we'll put
that's okay. We'll step through it when we get there.
Okay.
So we're going to go to app configuration policies here. And you can see that we've previously set this up for Android. Now we're going to set this up for Mac OS, iOS. So we're going to send our policy endpoint. Adam can spell. It's quite late for him at the moment. We're going to select our platform as iOS. And then we're going to search for Defender. And you'll see, yep, we now have Microsoft Defender. We're going to click OK.
Now, the thing to keep in mind here is that, so this is an app configuration policy, and we're telling it which of the apps that are in our store we're actually going to configure with this. So that's
correct.
In case this is new, that's what's happening here. So there's
and
a configuration designer, or you can import some XML.
Yep.
All right. So this one we're going to do web protection false, and it says it's a string. Now, here's the thing I noticed. We were talking about docs earlier. So you've got this configuration thing of just, you're going to do this, and you're
make sure you remove the space from the end.
Yep.
Very pedantic.
But so we're doing a true and false, and yet we're doing a string. But then some of these use Boolean anyway.
So this comes down to how the control has been written, whether it's going to accept string or whether it's going to accept Boolean.
Yeah.
Because what you might find, especially with web protection, while we're sitting there and saying true and false, there may well have been an audit function at one point or something like that.
Fair enough. I just thought it was comical. I was like, why? Yep. I was double checking each one. Like, all right, is it string or is it Boolean? What are we going to do here?
It's a fair question.
Yeah.
So we're going to enable net protection, and we've done that.
The other one I was looking for is supervised mode. And, is this the one? I apologize. I thought I was ready on this. Don't you know the answer to this one, Steve?
I don't know which one we're looking for.
The is supervised setting.
Remember.
There's the one that's enrolling it into Defender for Endpoint. Basically, it's.
You want it so it auto registers.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact setting. So let's just keep moving on. We can.
Well, no, because it won't work if we don't do it.
Well, no.
Right.
I can just sign into the device. And that will be just for Windows.
But it was going to do it in a cool way. Why was it so easy to find? Yes, I swear. It's always the case here.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any groups?
Yeah, just do SH. Just search for SH. And set groups SH. Yep, perfect. So what we can do, I'll just quickly show you on my device because Defender has installed. So we can see here it's installed. We're going to go and just quickly go to our settings to show you what we've got there now. If we go to General, if we go to VPN Device Management Profile, you'll still see that we only have apps. You'll see that MS Defender is there, but you don't see any configurations that come down yet. So I can still do a whole heap of stuff, and I don't see any VPN profiles or anything like that. Why we're calling that out is we just want to show you while we're going through it and we step through that scenario, we can then pick up the profile coming through. So if I flick back over here and we've applied that policy, correct, Adam? Yes. And we go to devices. I select my device and then I hit the three dots and I'm going to check status. That check status is going to do the sync policy and say, hey, you need to have this applied to your device. Yes, no, etc. Well, you'll note this device is a little old. It's an XR. But the corp type, ownership type is corporate. So it is a corporate owned device that we've registered through managed through Apple Business Manager. So if we now flick back across, what we should see occur, I believe, still hasn't come down yet.
So I found the thing, Steve. Cool. It's the zero touch enrollment. That's what I was looking for. That's the language I was looking for.
Yep. So what Adam's looking for there is the zero touch enrollment. So if I go here and I go to the Defender app, I still need to sign in with my account.
So don't do that yet. let's do the zero touch bit.
Cool. So Adam's going to quickly do that. So I'm going to pop over to his screen while we're waiting for that process policy to sync through. And this is where we're going in and specifying that it needs to be a device installation on the app itself. Then we do the app configuration. We're doing it to the device. And
this is what I was looking for. Is supervised.
Is supervised.
I literally could have just typed those words and it would have gotten close. Huh?
Yes, but you need to put it in curly braces.
Yep. All right. Sorry. I was like, I knew what this was, and I couldn't think of the words to search for. Okay. String. Go. So then that should be telling it to be supervised, and that's good. And then we're going to go to the control filter and set this guy up. So control filter zero touch is what we want to enable. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just download this XML profile, and we'll grab that here in a moment. Okay. So we'll go into configuration, policies, create profile, iOS.
Template custom, wasn't it? Right at the top. Was it custom?
It's custom.
Yep. Zero touch.
Go.
Perfect.
All the things in it to do the thing.
So it's got a plist, and we're going to deploy that to the set group sh, and we hit create.
There we go. Okay. So now we should be fully onboarding it, and then so you can do the similar thing on non-supervised devices, but obviously this takes you down a different path. You would need to, this is where the privacy thing comes into play, and how much you're going to be willing to touch user devices and all those things. So be careful there on that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we go. So you should now be.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the policy to synchronize down. So if we go here. Oh. And we hit
going to the same spot.
Yes. Right. So it's just processing. It's still taking a little bit of time. What we should be able to do is go back here, get a manage profile. And what we'll see eventually appear in here is the configuration for Defender.
And it's interesting that it's taking you a bit, because I know that when I was doing mine, the settings came down, like literally if you just go open Defender now, it may just sign you in automatically. Like it was,
unfortunately, no.
I felt that it was very fast. Make sure you quit it as well.
Of course. I always quit it.
All right, good. Do that.
So if we go here, we've got something extra here now, Adam. It's called restrictions, and we can see the web content filtering is enabled. So this is the first process that we did, or the first policy, and you'll see that it's saying the auto filter enabled. No, so we're not automatically filtering it. If we go back and we go to more details on here, what we should also see eventually is going to be that policy or profile that we've deployed. So it's slowly coming down. We've got content filtering running. That's interesting. So it's set to not auto filter. So let's go back over to Defender now then. If my screen will allow me to do it. Still hasn't signed in. It's still working on that policy. But we can see that it's downloading and installing those profiles for us. So if we go back across to our settings page, and we're going to step back, and then we're going to go back to the VPN and device management. We have our content filtering. We can see that it's running. Now, I can't disable that. I'm trying to select it. There's nothing I can do. The only way I can stop that occurring right now is if I go and remove the management profile, which I don't have the ability to do, I believe. No, because this is a fully managed device. I can't just go and randomly take that profile off.
And this is where that is supervised piece is kicking in.
Yep. So it's taking a little bit of time to come through, but we can see that it's processing, and eventually it will come through and it'll say, hey, I need to do more profiles. So let's just go back to company portal.
Actually, the web filtering should be shouldn't that be the only profile it's going to see?
I thought it should see the zero touch config as well. So let's make sure we've closed out. And we go here. Yeah, so it still hasn't come through with the supervised yet. Because what should occur is it should show us all of the profiles that are being, or policies that are being assigned in that management profile. So when we click on this, what you should see in here is a profile for what we're doing. So as an example, you've got the management, and we go back.
Yeah, my phone is showing the same as yours.
Cool. So if
it's not showing multiple profiles for things.
Interesting.
That should have been all we needed to do to.
Yep. But the thing is, it took a little bit of time the first time as well for that profile to come down, so it's fine. And this just comes down to we're in two geographic different locations, and it takes time for the SCAL units to synchronize the data, which is fun. So now we're going to select that device. We're going to go to our iPhone. We're going to hit sync.
Oh, in Intune, I can see the app configuration has come down, but I do not see the device configuration at all, even targeted to your phone in Intune yet. Let me double check, make sure I got it right.
Yeah, so this is just where it's going to take some time. So yeah, it was deployed to my security group.
It was, yes. Okay, just double checking. All right, come on.
Oh, confirming device settings. So it's doing a little bit more this time.
I'm going to push down a supervised sync or supervised reboot or wipe, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not too worried either way. What I can see is it's actually applied in Intune now. So, so we'll just go and minimize that.
Might already
we'll go to Defender. I don't know why that's not auto installed.
Come on, Defender, you can do it. You can do it.
Because it's still confirming those settings.
Well, I'll tell you, I went through similar steps the other day when trying to push down a VPN profile, and I selected the wrong certificate policy.
Whoops.
And it never would apply. And I was like, what in the world? Why isn't it coming down? All the other stuff was coming. And it took a while to figure out that we had several, and I missed the nuance in the naming.
Yeah, and certificates are very important when you're applying policies, because we look for the evidence of the certificate, not for the policy of the certificate being applied.
Oh, there you go.
So that's why when you're deploying like Wi-Fi profiles and things like that, it's looking for the extended key usage
that matches
of the certificate issued from this certificate authority. So if you're, especially in SCEP policies, if your extended key usage settings in Intune are different to what's on the certificate, it's not going to be found.
Makes sense.
Sort of.
I mean, it demystifies kind of what it's doing there, so that's good.
Yeah. So it's still just confirming those device settings. It's taking a little bit longer than I would expect. Yeah, so it's
like carrier pigeons.
Yep. Eventually my internet will be faster here. It's just going to take us some time.
We'll all be excited for that.
Yes. Me more so than anybody else. Because I'll have gig internet.
I'm just excited because you'll be able to pump out the memes so much faster.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
So at this point, just keep fast forwarding.
Yep. Let's see if it's come through.
Hey, look at that.
So I just open up Defender and you can see that it's now saying it's protected. And it wants to send me notifications. I don't want to send notifications. But why you may want to tell your users to allow notifications is it's actually monitoring your iOS version as well. So I updated this morning to 16.5.1, which is the latest version as of today. But if I hadn't, when I turned the device on, it would have come up and went, hey, your device is not up to date. You need to do something. And this is where you can force that. And then you start pulling it across into conditional access and put some controls around that as well. So what you'll see here is you can see we're also doing the web protection, and I can turn that on and off. Nope, I can't turn that on and off.
Oh, you can't?
Because of how we've configured that profile.
Because it's supervised now.
Correct.
And also, go to Safari or Edge.
Safari, yep.
Okay, well, you noticed, maybe back up, rewind. You would have noticed that it said 0 websites scanned. Now,
so
click on Bing.
We're just going to go to Apple because they're awesome.
All right.
And then we go back over here and you want to go and show this. And you can see that we've actually looked at 5 websites.
Yeah.
So that tells us what you as the end user can see that what's being hit. If we go here, let's just go Google. No thanks. And then we go back over there. Once it loads up, you can now see that it's saying 6. So it captures all of the addresses that you're hitting and where it's going through from there. And obviously you can go over here, and if we go Intune.training, the place where you should be going all the time, it will load up the YouTube page for you. And you can see all the videos associated. So then if we go back across, you can see that we've hit more links and everything associated. Pretty cool, right?
I like it. It's good. There is that's not the one I want to do.
So does that cover off everything that we're going to demo today, Adam, or is there something more you want to talk through?
No, so the yeah, there's one more.
One more. Let me add you.
One more little bit here. So I'm gonna sync your machine one more time here.
Oh, okay.
You should notice some more things. I went ahead and configured. While you were rambling on, I just configured some extra items.
Oh, so what do we do? What did we configure?
Whatever the other things in the list were. I don't know, man. They do.
All right. Well, let's see the magic.
So Defender network protection enabled.
Cool.
And exclude URL and report set to false. So that means it will include the URLs when it sends them in.
Oh, that's cool.
So the thing that I wanted to kind of say here was, one, we give company users, corporate iPhones, and we tell them, like, in our company, we say, look, use it like you would use, we want you to carry one phone. We want to make it easy, whatever. We're not going to install the apps that you find useful, all that kind of stuff. But we also, as a company, have acceptable use policies. And we expect our employees to follow that, even when they're carrying around this phone that they may be using for personal, approved personal use and stuff. But kind of the point here is, like, use some responsibility. You're going to have corporate data on this. Don't go goofing off and going on the stupid websites, because we're watching, and we're going to see what you're doing. And I think it's a good thing, because I think having it visible to the users that, hey, we're scanning websites, I think helps encourage positive behavior there. But on the flip side, like, as
not using
IT admins,
corporate devices where you don't want to be tracked.
Yeah, we shouldn't be, spying on people either. So, okay, so that was one thing. Okay, so then go here, tenant administration. We previously configured this, but if you've never been here under tenant administration, there's connectors and tokens.
Yes.
We scroll down to Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. So when you're first configuring and enrolling and turning on Defender,
really important.
You may have come here and done some things, but maybe you only did it when you were doing Windows. But there are more things here, and you should be coming and ticking all these boxes for the most part.
Yep.
So,
and note the interesting one for the enable app sync, sending app inventory for iOS and iPad OS devices. And then there's also the full application inventory on personally owned devices. So this is where you have visibility of what apps people are running on their devices.
And honestly, I'm looking at that saying, cool, free inventory. Let's do it. Don't have to roll your own.
Well, how do you roll your own for iOS? You can't.
True. I was thinking in the Windows world, but yes.
I know you were.
Even harder in an iOS world. But anyway, turn these guys on as well. So it's specifically saying, hey, connect these into Defender for Endpoint for policy evaluation. And so if we go to the security.microsoft.com portal, this is where all this stuff bubbles up. Now, all of this depends on Defender for Endpoint licensing. So, like we said before, like, if you don't have Defender for Endpoint,
E5,
you can still get it's lesser than that.
You can get it as a separate standalone license, correct, as well.
It's Defender for Endpoint Plan 1 and Plan 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. If
you're
going there, you might as well roll up with E5.
Yeah. The thing to note is, it is included as part of E3 or E5. So E3 will do the configuration, E5 will do the reporting typically.
And so what you can do here is come in and you can search for phones, and I believe is this yours?
That's the one.
Use iPhone.
Because I have a very inventive naming scheme for my device.
I feel like I've zoomed in a little bit more than this console can handle.
Correct.
But here's just a glimpse of the data you can see. Now, this stuff, if you click through this is going to take you over to Intune and go and look at the policies that we've created. And as this machine soaks, we're going to get more information out of it. So you would end up with timeline and information about events, critical things that are happening.
Yep.
What I found on our devices is that as this data was coming in, security recommendations include basically, like, it's going to flag vulnerabilities because you don't have the latest updates applied. So that's neat. It kind of rolls it all into one place. As his phone checks in, we're going to get the software inventory. The vulnerabilities there, as I said, those ties back into the security updates not applying and stuff. But yeah, not as compelling here. This is where this would be. But then also, I imagine, I hadn't gone down this route, but this is where you would configure things like your web protection policies.
Correct.
So that tick box here, connect to Defender for Endpoint for application protection policy
So-
evaluation. So then this is telling it, go to Endpoint, go here to get policies that apply. Am I correct there?
I believe so. If you've set up, I think it's the other way around. So you can sit there and say, well, you need to have the Defender as part of your application protection policies.
Okay, maybe it's that way. But either way, like the web protection and all those things, that stuff's going to come from here. That's where that's all protected from and stuff. So this is your management console for all that stuff. I don't live in this world. Sorry, I'm guessing it's some of these bits.
Yeah. Well, this is all what was MCAS. So Microsoft Cloud App Security is now Defender Cloud Apps.
Cool.
And this is where you go and trust or untrusted sites. So for web content filtering, you'd actually be using it at a lower level. And that's where you'd go into settings. And then you'd go to endpoints.
Oh, wrong thing.
Yes. Endpoints, third one from the top. And then here, what you'll see is web content filtering. And that's where you put your controls in there.
Oh, we went here long ago.
We did. On a video long time ago.
When this very first came out, I remember it wasn't fully baked yet then.
Correct. It's a lot better now.
Yes.
There's no third-party integration required anymore. It's just go and deploy it. It still deploys to a single Defender group, and it'll send that out.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we could block gambling. Select all.
Yep.
And then if you were to flip back over, I mean, obviously you'd have to get the policy.
So that's going to apply to your Windows devices as well.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas what you can do is you can go and create a group based upon if it's iOS only.
Yeah. So anyway, there's lots more into this. Docs are full of great content here. This is just one piece of the more holistic picture of managing Defender or managing Defender for Endpoint in general. And as Steve mentioned, you can do third party. No, you were talking about the other thing. Something you can. Sorry, my point was you should be looking at antivirus on your phones.
That's correct.
Mobile devices is what I was trying to say. Sorry.
Well, and this is the thing. When you start putting in Defender, even before sitting there and saying, I'm going to block access to resources or anything like that, think of it, you're putting it in audit mode. And just then show the vulnerabilities that are available on your devices to your executives and your chief risk officer, and they will freak out and go, what do you mean this all exists? And it's like, yeah, we've just never monitored it. It's never been thought about because, well, iOS and Mac OS, nobody writes viruses for that.
Yeah. Nobody
exploits that. And so actually they do. And this is part of that whole conversation of how do we make sure that your endpoints are secure?
Yeah. And also the other bit here is if you're not using Intune to manage this stuff, you can still manage Defender through other third-party MDMs as well. So
heck, you don't even need to have an MDM. You can just turn around and install the Defender app and sign in with your organizational account.
There you go. So lots to dig in here. Go forth and secure things.
Exactly. Please secure. We'll have to do a video later on Android as well and Mac OS.
It might look almost the same. You just swap out iOS for Android.
Slightly close. But yes, very close. But there's some additional components around Android for web profiles.
Sweet. Well, thanks for bearing with us, folks. We'll talk to you later. See you later, Shiny Jacket Man.
See you, Adam.